Deep in the jungle, wild honey becomes a valuable food through skill, caution, and careful processing. The first step is not harvesting. It is observing the hive safely.
Inside the comb, wax cells hold thick wild honey.
The final product is pure honey, filtered, settled, and packed into jars. Wild honey begins far from factories, in remote forest ecosystems. Only trained harvesters with local experience should work near wild hives. Protective clothing reduces risk during the harvest. Smoke is used carefully by trained harvesters to calm the hive area. Food-grade containers protect the honey after harvest. The team moves carefully through the forest toward the hive location. Experienced harvesters read bee movement to understand where the hive may be. The hive tree is identified before anyone approaches the area. Before harvesting, the team studies hive activity and wind conditions.
Weather and wind affect how safely the team can work.
A clear work zone keeps containers and support workers organized. Only the trained lead harvester approaches the hive area. Gentle smoke is used carefully to reduce bee agitation. A responsible harvest takes only honey-rich sections and avoids destroying the colony. The first comb section is removed slowly and carefully. The comb is transferred carefully to the support team.
The team pauses to check bee activity before removing more comb.
Only a portion of the honeycomb is collected. Fresh comb must be protected quickly after it reaches the ground. The remaining hive is left intact so the colony can continue.
Comb is covered before leaving the forest.
The team now carries the harvest back for processing. Back at the village, the wild comb enters a cleaner processing area.
Processing begins with clean hands, clean tools, and clean surfaces.
The first processing step is selecting clean, honey-rich comb.
Only honey-rich comb continues to extraction.
Large comb sections are cut into smaller pieces for extraction. Some honey flows out naturally before the comb is pressed.
The remaining honey is extracted with a clean manual press.
Pressing separates honey from the wax cells.
After pressing, wax is separated from the honey stream.
The first filter removes large wax particles.
Fine filtering removes smaller wax pieces while keeping the honey natural.
The honey rests so air bubbles and fine particles can settle. White foam is removed before quality checks.
Moisture checking helps determine whether honey is stable for storage.
Color and clarity are checked before filling jars.
Experienced processors also evaluate aroma and texture. Clean jars are prepared before honey filling.
Sterilized jars help protect the finished honey.
The filling station controls how much honey enters each jar. Filtered honey is filled into clean glass jars.
Fill level checks keep the jars consistent.
Caps are placed immediately after filling.
Tight caps protect the honey during storage and transport. Every jar is inspected before packing.
Carton dividers protect glass jars during transport.
Finished jars are packed carefully into cartons.
Sealed cartons make the honey easier to move to market.
Honey jars are stored in a cool, dry place before delivery.
The finished honey is loaded for local market delivery. The jars move from processing hut to local market. The wild honey is displayed for customers at the market.
We harvested this deep in the forest, completely organic.
Customers judge wild honey by color, clarity, and trust in the process.
The journey ends as jars of pure, wild honey. Every stage turns a risky wild harvest into a clean food product.
The harvest begins with training, equipment, and caution.
Responsible harvesting leaves the colony able to continue. Clean handling protects honey quality after the wild harvest.
Extraction separates honey from wax. Filtering removes wax particles while preserving the honey.
Quality checks help confirm the honey is ready for packing.
Clean jars turn filtered honey into a market-ready product.
The final jars travel from storage to customers. Observation helps harvesters decide whether a hive can be approached safely. Smoke must be controlled because too much can harm the process and the bees.
Partial harvesting protects the colony and the future honey source. Covered containers protect fresh honeycomb from leaves, dust, and insects.
Settling gives honey time to become clearer before filling. Moisture level affects how well honey stores over time.
Clear jars allow customers to see the honey's color and clarity. Protective equipment is essential around wild bees.
The smoker is a traditional tool used only by experienced harvesters. Food-grade buckets keep honeycomb protected during transport.
The press extracts honey without needing complicated factory machinery. Filtering removes wax pieces and improves clarity.
The settling tank holds honey before filling.
The filler controls the jar fill level. Capping seals the honey for storage and sale.
Cartons protect jars on the way to market. The journey begins deep in the jungle.
A giant hive hangs high in the forest canopy. Safety comes before the harvest.
Controlled smoke helps the team work more calmly. Only selected honeycomb sections are removed.
Fresh comb is protected immediately.
The harvest leaves the forest for processing.
Processing begins on clean tables.
The clean honeycomb is selected for extraction. Pressing releases honey from the wax.
Filtering clarifies the honey.
Settling makes the honey clearer before filling.
Quality checks decide whether honey is ready for jars.
Clean jars prepare the honey for market.
Filtered wild honey is filled into clear jars.
Capping seals the finished honey.
Every jar is inspected before packing.
Cartons protect the glass jars.
Finished cartons wait in cool storage.
The honey travels from village storage to market.
At the market, the wild honey is ready for customers.
The journey ends when honey becomes part of everyday food.
The full process connects forest honeycomb to finished jars.
The best wild harvest protects both people and the bee colony.
Wild honey begins with bees collecting nectar from forest flowers.
Inside the hive, nectar is transformed into stored honey.
The hive is large enough to be seen clearly from the forest floor.
Each team member has a role before the harvest starts.
Ground support protects the harvested comb after it is lowered.
The processing area is prepared while the harvest is underway.
Wax cells store honey in a natural structure.
Processing separates liquid honey from wax. Wax is stored separately as a useful byproduct.
Wild honey can vary in color depending on forest flowers.
Texture and flow are part of honey evaluation.
At the market, cartons are opened and jars are displayed.
Clear jars allow customers to see the honey directly.
The finished jar is ready for customers to take home. Wild honey becomes a simple ingredient for daily meals. Many customers use honey in warm drinks.
A properly sealed jar can be stored for later use. The same honey moves through wild harvest, filtering, and packing.
The process is easiest to understand by following the honey flow.
Extraction creates both liquid honey and wax byproduct. Raw comb becomes clear, finished honey.
The team leaves the forest with only the selected honeycomb. A simple processing line keeps each step organized. Weighing helps track the harvest batch.
The amount of honey depends on comb quality and moisture.
Filters must stay clean for consistent honey clarity.
Bottling improves clarity before filling.
Aligned jars make filling cleaner and more consistent. A secure cap protects the honey during transport.
Stable cartons help protect glass jars.
Storage shelves keep cartons organized before delivery.
A clean display helps customers see the product clearly.
The colony remains active after the limited harvest. The collected comb shows why wild honey is so valuable.
Press reveals the thick honey hidden in the comb. The wild harvest becomes a clean row of honey jars. This work depends on local knowledge and experience.
After harvest, the work becomes a careful community processing routine. Finished honey supports local markets and small producers.
The forest provides nectar that shapes the honey's character.
The hive is not fully removed because the colony must continue.
The team leaves the forest site clean.
Each filter stage improves clarity.
Wax is handled separately from the honey food product.
Gentle handling helps preserve natural honey texture.
Batch grouping helps producers manage quality.
Some producers keep small reference samples from each batch. Clean jar surfaces improve the final market presentation. Dividers help protect glass jars during delivery.
Market vendors organize jars so stock stays orderly. The scale of the hive is what makes this harvest so difficult.
A wild hive is active and unpredictable.
Fresh comb can be heavy with honey. The richest comb releases thick honey under pressure. Filtering turns raw extraction into cleaner honey. Every jar contains the result of the entire forest-to-market process. Stage 1 begins with forest flowers and wild bees.
Stage 2 prepares trained harvesters and equipment.
Stage 3 brings the team to the hive area. Stage 4 studies the hive before harvest.
Stage 5 collects only selected honeycombs.
Stage 6 moves the comb safely out of the forest. Stage 7 selects clean honeycomb for extraction. Stage 8 extracts the raw honey. Stage 9 filters the honey for clarity.
Stage 10 settles and tests the honey. Stage 11 fills and seals the jars.
Stage 12 protects jars for delivery.
Stage 13 brings the honey to market.
Stage 14 is the final use at home.
The entire process can be understood from these samples.
Each tool has a role in safety, hygiene, or packaging.
Wild honey depends on a living forest and a continuing bee colony.
Even a wild harvest needs clean processing.
This is the final transformation into market jars. The product supports local trade and customer demand.
From a giant jungle hive to jars on a market table, every step matters. This work belongs to trained professionals, not casual imitators. A responsible harvest leaves life continuing in the forest. The final jar holds the story of the entire process. The wild harvest finally becomes food on a table. Behind each jar is skilled work and careful handling.
Wild harvesting becomes a real production process when each station is controlled.
Observe, harvest, transport, inspect, extract, filter, test, fill, pack, and sell.
The market shelf is the final stop before customers take the honey home.
The team leaves the forest after a careful, limited harvest.
From forest flowers and a giant hive to filtered honey, sealed jars, and market shelves, this is the complete wild honey process.
Thank you for watching Mega Processing Tech. Subscribe, like, share, and comment what extreme full AZ process we should explore next.